Ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, welcome back. This is the HCS ANZ Open number 1. I'm your host and Maniac, now joined on the cast by two of the freshest kids on the block. We do have Bluey and Hoggy. Welcome onto the cast, boys. It's been an excellent competition and tournament so far. Very, very exciting things. We've obviously got a lot to talk about as we get to the pointy end. We've just got 2 more series ahead of us. Our lower bracket final and then the grand final, which we'll touch on very, very soon. Hoggy, we've seen a whole lot take place today. And a lot of the players that obviously you've even competed against in the past. Tell me, what are some of the highlights for today? And has everything unfolded the way you thought it might have gone?
Yeah, I think things are going pretty swimmingly right now for NutriBullet. And I think there's no real surprise there. We really thought that, but I did not think the Divine Mind wouldn't put up much of a fight, which ended up turning out to be that way. But maybe they can come back now. They're going to be versing Nuke and Pave in the losers bracket final, so maybe they can get a rematch into the final against NutriBullet.
I'm going to be keen to see that one. And Bluey, for yourself, you know, we haven't seen you on broadcast before. Happy that you can join us here today. Obviously, you've got a bit of experience. You've competed in a couple of ACL events way back in the day, and obviously Halo 3 is typically your jam. Now here in Halo Infinite, following some of these players, what about yourself, and what have you seen throughout the bracket today that you'd like to probably call out and things that we should pay attention to?
I mean, it's overall just been really fierce competition so far. You can definitely tell that a lot of the players that we've been able to watch have just been putting in the absolute grind, the absolute hours in order to get here. You know, of course, huge shout outs to NutriBullet. They are performing spectacularly, and I think we're going to see that pretty much all the way to the end of the tournament today.
Hoggy, to you, we've talked a few times amongst ourselves between Justin and also Hoots about the dynamic of Halo Infinite. Way back in the day when you and I were just little kidlings, we were playing against each other in Halo 3, and it was obviously a very, very different game. We've talked about the evolution of Halo 3 competitive, you know, Reach, 4, 5, and here we are with Halo Infinite as well. A lot of things that, you know, objectively, at least the competitive community and consensus has been both good and bad, but largely a lot of positivity around Halo Infinite and a lot of these new elements that come into play. We've seen some of the best players of Halo 5 being able to implement them and use them very well in those highlights reel. I love the use of the grapple to try and get control of power weapons and power-ups, obviously being able to bring them to you. On Bazaar, we were able to see, you know, being able to grapple, get the rocket launcher down to you down at the bottom market there. How do you think that these pro players have been using them? Do you think they're utilizing them as much as they can? Do you think it's going to develop and evolve from here? What's your kind of take on these new elements?
Yeah, I think starting out players are just learning. They're working out how they can use these things the best way possible. And we saw in the replays Barcode using it as best he can already, and other players using the repulsor as much as they can. We haven't really seen too much of Thruster, but I think as the game evolves, I think Thruster will come into it more, and we'll see like more of those Halo 5 battles where they're absolutely going to catch out someone. And I think a BR is going to make it a little bit harder because you have to hit 3 bullets in the burst to sort of get the 4-shot going. So be able to thrust around with the person having a BR should make it, you know, a different dynamic than it did when there was a pistol involved.
Yeah, I think so as well, and that's why getting those pieces of equipment are absolutely vital. But look, we don't want to delay any more than we need to. Let's have a quick look at the bracket and see what's gone down and how we got here. As a reminder for those playing at home, our last matchup, we did see NutriBullet go all the way through. They took down Divine Mind 2-0. Bluey, when we saw that scoreline, was it what you expected? Because it ended up being a bit of a blowout.
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, I want to go out a limb here and say that I think Barcode's performance overall on the sticks has been a bit of a warm-up, and he's really just saving himself for those final plays. And I think it's going to be a tough one for him here because there is some really fierce competition coming out of this lower bracket. It doesn't matter which team manages to claw their way through. It's going to be a tough one, and I know Barcode is frothing at the mouth for it.
I think he is as well. As we look through this lower bracket, you know, we saw a great run from Idolize. They got the 2 over at KBM, the 2 over Carbon, but the 2-1 to Nuke and Pave. And that's what we should talk about here as we get into this matchup in just a second. Before we talk about the Divine Mind versus Nuke and Pave versus Idolize. 2-1. We didn't catch that on broadcast, but we know that was very close. Hoggy, some of the players in both of these squads, you know, I think they were obviously trying to do what they could to make it through the entire tournament. They duked it out. I know that a player dropped from Nuke and Pave there for a second. I think that was either a reconnect or they were able to play with 3. It's something I'm going to get admins to confirm. But they ended up finishing that one 5-1 in that final CTF. Is that what we would have expected? Because these players, you know, Justin, our co-caster, was talking about earlier about Lunchy and the rest of the squad that's, or the rest of the team that makes up that squad, trying to do their best. Did you expect the 2-1 there in the lower bracket and then continuing on?
Well, it makes sense that it'll be a 2-1 because the series should be close, right? But you've got 3 older players on Nuke and Pave. Obviously, they have Junior, which is a massive opportunity for them to capitalize on. And now he has to play his actual team, or whatever the situation is. We're not sure at the moment, but he's going to have to play his sort of team at the moment. And then the fact that you've got Lunchy on there as well, who's a newer addition, newer player, it's no surprise that these older players, even Jace coming back, who's now Juckor, he wasn't the most amazing player back in Halo 3, but he's proving that he deserves to be here in the top 3 as he is right now.
I just had the producer in my ear as well, confirming that, so there wasn't a dropout. The miscommunication there was that a player had a controller disconnect there for quite a bit of time in the game while they were fumbling around with that, but they still ended up coming through with the W. So I'm keen to see who that was. Maybe Nuke and Pave will get the win here. Who knows? And we'll be able to chat to them either way, even if it's off broadcast. I'm going to catch up and find out who that was. Regardless, let's move on to what's ahead of us. We've got a fantastic matchup for sure. It is the lower bracket final. We've got Divine Mind versus Nuke and Pave. Divine Mind, look, there's no other way to say it. They get clocked there in the winners bracket final, but they're looking to come back with a vengeance. However, on the opposing side, they're going to have quite a fight because I think there's some spirit there. But look, let's focus on this squad. Pip, Rated, Berserk, and Slays. The narrative here is going to be about that substitute player again, Rated, because it's going to be interesting because Junior's going to be on the other side, which is going to have a whole weird dynamic to this whole matchup. But look, the Divine Mind squad, Bluey, what can you tell us about it from what you've seen today? What really stands out from these guys?
Absolutely, I would say that Berserk is a huge player I want to highlight. We did say on that last game for Rechargeable, I believe it was, just some of the really interesting plays he was making, especially just sacking his life, knowing he had the energy sword and not wanting to put it in the enemy hands is the kind of 200 IQ play that you need going into a series like this, you know. Halo World Championship Sydney Finals for 2018, and he's dethroned Team Immunity here before, which in Australia is a huge name and a massive one to take down. So overall, Divine Minds, I know they're going to be coming at it with their A game.
Immunity, through one name or another, dominated for almost a decade. So dethroning them was massive at the Sydney Finals 2018, which, Hoggy, you and I had the pleasure of casting that event. It was fantastic. Divine Mind. Now with Ali on this squad, you know, it's obviously no small names here. And yes, they did just get beaten now, but Ali is obviously one player to really look out for as we move forward throughout the entire HCS roadmap.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's definitely a player to look out for, and he's always been at the top, and he's proven that he's still at the top. This team maybe needs a little bit of work right now. You can clearly see that NutriBullet are definitely on top, but they don't have Junior, and they've only just picked up a new player or brought in their sub to play with, so it makes it a little hard, but Berserk's always been at the top. He'll help them get there, and they'll stay there.
Speaking of Junior, let's introduce the team that Divine Mind are up against. We are talking about Nuke and Pave. Now, this team, I remember way back when I was a wee lad and casting that Oz Halo 2009. It might have been a couple of ACL events after that. Nuke and Pave was a name that was reckoning the scene, and look, if you were up against Nuke and Pave, you knew that you had to be shaking in your boots. This squad now made up of Lunchy, Juckor, Junior, and Mantis. A really big name in the ANZ scene, and you know, a bit of, I would say, even an eclectic mix of people here, Bluey, in this squad.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like one of the key players that I think we should all be pointing out here. We've name-dropped him a couple of times, but Junior is huge on the Australian scene, huge even on the world stage. He's had many opportunities to make his face and those thumbs known on stage, and he's certainly like one to be reckoned with when it comes to face-to-face on the battlefield. But he's absolutely been performing today, and I'm super keen to watch how he does now because he knows that it's time to claw his way out and it's time to get to the top.
It's going to be a really interesting dynamic here, guys. So Junior, normally in the primary lineup for Divine Mind, now playing on the team against his own squad while they are competing with a sub. Now, I've been told Junior is not holding back. He's given it his all, which is going to make this matchup all the more exciting because, you know, Junior, he's got some frustrations to let out about the fact that he can't make himself available for all of the opportunities that the roadmap's providing. So I'm really, really keen to see how this is going to unfold. Junior's performance is one to look out for, which is why he's a highlighted player. Now, Hoggy, let's put that entire narrative to the side for a second and just talk about Junior full stop. He's been competing for almost as long as far as I know. I mean, even Ads, you know, Ads has a history of like 17 years in the Australian Halo scene. I'm sure Junior's been around just as long. I know when I first started competing back in 2007, 2008, he was already on the scene and already had made a name for himself.
Yeah, he really has. And even back then, he was teaming with Mantis, and now he's teaming with Mantis again. He's brought in Lunchy and Jakor to help him. He's had to jump into this squad, you could say a little randomly, unfortunately for him and his circumstances, but he's here to win, and he still wants to beat Divine Mind.
And don't underestimate my Halo Australia rep, Lunchy. He's in there. He's coming out swinging, so keep an eye out for them. But, guys, this is the matchup here. Oddball on Streets is where we're going to start things off. We will get to the Slayer recharge, and if we make it in this best of 3, we will see a Strongholds on live fire. Now, look, Oddball Streets, Bluey, the coordination between your team is massive. That's the off the rip, that as soon as you're spawning and you're basically just facing the opposing team straight away, you really need to have your communication down pat, right?
It's so key here, especially if you decide to take that bottom mid peak. You can expect to be hit by 4 BRs straight in the face. So it takes a lot to be able to make the right call straight from the get-go and say, okay, boys, we need to make the rotation from this position or to this position. We need to get hold of the objective, and we need that rocket launcher.
Indeed we do. Ladies and gentlemen, get hyped. This is the lower bracket final. We're going to have Divine Mind versus Nuke and Pave. This game is about to get underway. I hope you are hyped. And I'm going to pass things off to Hoggy as we get this game underway.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Game number 1, losers bracket final. We are on board with Slays. He's pushing straight in. He's going to find damage. He doesn't manage to get him. He puts shots down on Lunchy with a free kill. 1 trade each for the team. His teammate does have rockets, though, and the oddball has still not moved. Rated has the rockets. So good start here for Divine Mind. They'll grab the ball. They'll have 2 dead on the side of Nuke and Pave. So a beautiful start for Divine Mind.
Yeah, I made that call at the beginning of the game that it takes a lot to be able to tell the rest of your team, like, look, don't peek down bottom mid just yet. We need to make a push, and that's exactly what Divine Mind did, going straight to bar side and not looking down bottom mid. Unfortunately, Nuke and Pave were the ones who made that sort of separated split push, and Junior got caught out there. So really unfortunate for them, but really fortunate for Divine Mind. Super strong start off the get-go.
Yeah, while you were talking, it was 3 down for Nuke and Pave, and you can see in the kills on the top right, not a single one of them has a kill, but Junior, he makes up for it. He gets his first kill with that Stalker rifle. They're going to try pushing together down towards Cafe, and Raider's just going to need to stay alive and do the best he can. Mantis is trying to push on him. He will go down. 1 dead for each team. The ball is in PD. Mantis pushes in, finds another. It's 2 dead now for Divine Mind. The ball is in the hands of Nuke and Pave. Berserk and Slayer, though, they're pushing in and they're going to find some kills.
Very crucial right now to get some kills on the board, make some space for your team in order to hold that oddball and get some points, because you can see now the differential is so small, and that can change at any moment in the game. But as soon as you start to see a blowout in those points, that's where it gets a little bit unstable, and you really have to coordinate with your team that we have to start making a good hold. That's exactly what Nuke and Pave appear to be doing here right now, sort of flipping the hold that Divine Mind had on them, and it's looking to work really well for them now.
Yeah, Mantis goes down, 2 dead for Nuke and Pave, so things are looking a little rough, but Lunchy, he's going to stay alive, do what he can, get shots down on Berserk. He managed to get taken down, though. Berserk doing a beautiful job for his team. Back on with Rated, he'll find Jakor, take him down. So the teamwork coming through nicely for Divine Mind as they take down most of Nuke and Pave, and they'll manage to get themselves a setup on Cafe.
Yeah, really good overall setups from both teams. It's very clear that they've put in the hours in order to understand the streets, because it is such a complex map. There are so many nooks and crannies, so many jump ups, and so many angles to have to hold on a map like Streets here. So it takes, again, a lot of that coordination, but you can see that so many team members from the side of Nuke and Pave are going down quite quickly. It seems like Divine Mind have overall control at the moment.
Yeah, about 20 points the lead, as Lunchy's going to be working with Junior to find some kills. He'll find Pips, though. He'll have to back down. Pips is, stays alive somehow. Slays pushes onto Junior. He won't be able to help him, though. He stays alive again. Pips takes him out, though, and Junior gets taken down as well. Double kill for Pips, and that's a killing spree as well. 3 dead for Nuke and Pave. Again, Divine Minds have control of this oddball.
Pips is performing so well right now, just laying down the right shots where needed, responding to the calls that are made. You can see on the board right now, 8 kills for 3 deaths. Just as I say that, he faces 2, but will he manage to get away right now just on this jump up, standing on vending machine, and being able to challenge back out again? There's no way that Nuke and Pave should have let him get away with that play here, but it just shows how smart of a player Pips is.
Yeah, Lunchy on a bit of a flank. 3 of his teammates are dead. He manages to clean up. Raided. He'll go down again. Divine Mind's keeping perfect control of this oddball. They're up by 30 points, and Bluey, Divine Mind, they're looking very strong right now.
Super, super strong. Yeah, the holds are good, the setups are good, and most importantly, the slays are good. Like you just called out before, Lunchy was managing to clean up, but the cleanups just aren't enough. You have to be winning your battles overall, and that doesn't seem to be what Nuke and Pave are doing right now. Not sure how they could sort of make an adjustment on that, but remember that Oddball is a best of 3 round game type, so even if they do lose out in the first round, they could come back in this second.
Yep, 9 kills each for Slays and Pips. Pips is taking fire. He's just trying to milk some time the best he can, see if he can get his teammates to help him. They won't be able to. So Nuke and Pave are trying to get control of the oddball for the first time. Rockets are up as well. Lunchy's going to grab those, so he's going to use them to good use, though. He'll make a player weak and try to stay alive with this Rockets as best he can. He only has 1 left, so again, Nuke and Pave, they have control of this oddball. They have the Rockets. Let's see if they can keep a good setup going.
If Nuke and Pave can keep the setup right now, Lunchy using that rocket, and he does manage to trade, which is still good for them, better than him whiffing or just having to waste the rocket. He does manage to get a trade, which is going to give his team a little bit more time to sort of readjust themselves, maybe hold the ball for a little longer. But as I say that, they do get cleaned. We just had 4 down there on the side of Nuke and Pave just for a millisecond, which is really bad because it just opens up the map for Divine Mind to be able to get in and flip that hold that Nuke and Pave.
Nuke and Pave, they have a little bit of a pincer going on the oddball. They haven't really had much of a chance to hold it for too long. As Jakor tries to put shots down on Pips, makes him 1 shot. His teammate goes down next to him, so the teammate of Berserk will come in. He can't get him. His teammate comes in and cleans Jakor up. Still 2 dead. Divine Minds have the ball again, and Nuke and Pave, they still can't get the Slays out to even get hold of the oddball for more than 10, 15 seconds at a time, and you can see that by the scoreboard where they're up by 50 points.
A minute and a half left in this round here, and that's got to be coming down to the crunch point for Nuke and Pave just on this first round, because these are 5-minute rounds here. It does seem incredibly short, but in a game like Oddball where time is literally everything, it does start to bear down its weight, and especially when you have teammates on the end of Divine Mind like Slays and like Pips. Even Berserk here, again, we highlighted him before, but he's got 14 kills on the board, just putting down massive kill pressure alongside his 7 assists. This team just looks so strong, so coordinated right now, and you can see that they desperately want to get into that grand final.
Yeah, again, Junior just trying to play his life. He won't be able to. Rockets are up in 5 seconds, so this is Nuke and Pave's chance. If they can get these Rockets, they might be able to bring the game back. Slays staying alive for his team, which is perfect. He's got the Stalker Rifle. Maybe he can put that to use. There's 1 minute left on the clock, 60 points to lead. Rockets are probably in the hands of Nuke and Pave. They are. He'll take down 1. He makes 1 weak. Again, 2 dead for Nuke and Pave, though, so Divine Minds still have control. Oddball's just kind of sitting there, waiting for somebody to pick it up. Pips tries to charge in. Doesn't manage to get him. He'll back down. Jakor needs to stay alive and get the call-outs to his teammates to get him over here. Pips is going to push in for a 1v1. He looks like he's got an AR against him. Pips is just peeking, and he takes him down. Pips with the beautiful shots. He's using that AR perfectly. He'll go down, but Pips making light work of Jakor with the AR.
Definitely feels like it's deviated into a bit of a Slayer match right now, because Nuke and Pave really just need to get kills on the board in order to actually get the space and grab that ball. It's becoming really difficult for them in order to do that. But what we are seeing is Divine Mind just being able to be like, oh, okay, well, you guys want kills? We can do that just better. We can make space for ourselves, and we don't even need to grab the ball because of the tremendous lead that we have here. Just as I'm saying this, it seems like 5 seconds left on the scoreboard. 4, 3, 2... 1 does come to the end of the round. It was so easy for them just holding that objective there at the end. Nuke and Pave just could not get any shots.
Yeah, with only 8 seconds left, it was 4 down for Nuke and Pave, so it was rough. Easy for Pips to get the kills. Bit of a weird spawn for Pips. He's facing backwards, but it doesn't matter. He'll turn around. Oddball's ready to be picked up. Berserk might go straight for this Bulldog. I'd like this play. I'd love to see him pick up the Bulldog, get some use for it. He'll find Lunchy, put some shots out. He finds Mantis as well. Back down. Great shots from him. Rockets are still up. Let's see if Divine Mind can grab those. His teammates might had grabbed the Bulldog because it is not there. He's getting double teamed by Lunchy and Mantis. Lunchy does not care. He's going straight in. Perfect work from him. 3 dead now for Divine Mind. So maybe Nuke and Pave can get the ball finally as Mantis might try to push in.
Yeah, a bit strenuous on Nuke and Pave there, but maybe it was just the switch up in the map spawns that Nuke and Pave needed in order to make their own coordinated push. It felt like off the get-go they had their own play planned and they kind of made the read of what Divine Mind did. And in fact, Divine Mind took what Nuke and Pave did at the beginning of last round, and they sort of split off into the middle, and it didn't work out great for them, seeing their players get picked off at that vending machine side.
Yeah, things pretty even though Lunchy gets taken down. The ball will be sitting here ready for Divine Mind to pick up. He gets a double kill. Beautiful work. Pip's pushing around. He'll see Junior get a shot out for his teammate. Let's see if Berserk can get him. Berserk does get him. Slays goes down. 1 dead now for either team, but Pips is just going to milk some time. This is his perfect chance to get some more time going for his team. He'll get flanked. He'll go down. 2 dead for Divine Minds. Shots coming out from Lunchy, and his teammate might be able to clean him up. He won't, but Berserk had to back down. And Nuke and Pave, they've got the ball now, Bulldog in hand. Let's see if they can rack up some time.
Yeah, it seems like even though they've got the objective right now, they're really struggling to make a move from this pink street, you know. Lunchy is kind of pushed back right now. You can see he wants to peek, but every time he tries, that there's just another member of Divine Mind that has eyes on him, and he's sort of getting flanked from every position right now. But he actually manages to take down Pips with that Bulldog play. Really good patience coming out from Lunchy there, because he knows that his team needs this setup in Tram side in order to start putting some time on the board.
Rated, he still doesn't have a kill. He's had a rough round this time. He pushes in to try to see if he can get shots for his teammates to take one down. Pips Junior does. So it's 1 dead for each team. Bulldog in hand. 3 down now for Divine Minds. Rockets in the hands of Mantis. He takes down 1. 3 dead for Nuke and Pave. The ball is just sitting out the front of Tram. Berserk does not want to push it. He's going to use it to bait. And maybe he will grab it, and he does. He's not going to be able to get too much time, I don't think, as Mantis is in front of him, though.
Seems like both teams for this round are just playing very frantically at the moment. It seems to be more based around kills than really holding the objective. I think both teams are really putting the pressure on each other right now, and no one is really able to make a good, solid hold. Mantis is just going to be running dumpster side, trying to take the ball up to that arcade sort of ramp street area, but he just gets stopped in his tracks. I guess that's still good for him, though, because they did manage to make a little bit of a lead with the ball, but as players go down, that lead is going to disappear very quickly.
Yeah, a lot of scrap time. We're almost 2.5 minutes into the 5-minute timer, and we've still only seen 40 points gained from both teams. So, oddball, this oddball's gone interesting compared to all the others. And the previous round, for example, we got to 100 points with plenty of time left on the clock, and we're only 2 minutes and a half left on the clock, and the scores are now even, 25 all.
It might speak volumes to just sort of the frantic nature of Streets in itself. You know, as a team, we mentioned in the opening of this map that you do have to have really strong coordination in order to be able to make these good kills matter and turn them into a good setup. And just as I say that, you know, Slays makes a fantastic kill there. That double is going to provide him a little bit of space, but they're not really carrying the ball, even though they get these kills. Not too sure what's going on. Maybe they've cracked the code a bit and realized, okay, we need to focus more on just the asset denial side and making sure that there's not enough players in uptime to get a hold of it.
Yeah, Lunchy's got 3 players pushing him. He does have the Bulldog, though, so use this to advantage, stay behind corners, and get shots out when he needs to. Ball in the hands of Nuke and Pave. Finally, they might be able to get a chance to get a setup going, and Divine Mind is spawning on the other side of the map. He'll be challenged by Rated, put the shots down, stay back. And I'd love to see him sit back even more and use this Bulldog to his advantage, because it's something that's been added to the game, and it's a 3-shot kill, and it will kill faster than a 4-shot BR. So I'd love to see him just do exactly what he's doing right now and just wait for Rated to push him. He finds him, and he does take him out.
Very nice. Good little boxer kill from him there. He knew that his enemy was going to come in close, so that's why he had that Bulldog in that little, in that PD side cubby, just waiting for someone to peek out. We are 1:46 into this game, and it only did seem like at about, you know, the 2-minute mark that Nuke and Pave actually managed to get a really strong hold, and they are continuing that. But they are coordinating well enough to know that, okay, the enemy team is coming in, Divine Mind is coming in, drop the ball, we need to get these shots down because we need these players to go down. We can't keep having this pressure on top of us.
Yep, Slay's trying to work with his team to push in. They do have the oddball. Nuke and Pave had it for a little bit. due to that Bulldog in Lunchy's hands. This is a perfect flank for Slays. He's going to find 1 or 2 here. He does. He gets 1. His teammate finds the other. He might be able to pick up the oddball. He will have a little bit of a challenge, and he does. So he does pick up the oddball. He's got Pips on the other side of the map. He's going to rotate around to get the help from them. But all of Nuke and Pave are on the opposite side of the map. This is going to be so much time for Divine Minds.
Yeah, Divine Mind's actually managing to make a really good setup here, flipping what Nuke and Pave had, and they're not real. Nuke and Pave doesn't really seem to be pushing as like a huge coordinated group here to sort of break this structure, and it's going to be really difficult for them if they keep getting picked off like that. You know, Slays getting these shots down, getting these picks, getting these kills, and Nuke and Pave can't risk losing 3 down just like they were if they want to get a hold of this oddball.
Yeah, perfect teamwork from Slays and Pips. 2 times they bait and switch with each other. Then his teammate comes along and helps him out. So beautiful teamwork from Divine Minds, and they still have the oddball. The time's still ticking up. They've managed to take the lead. There's only 1 minute left on the clock, but that won't matter if they can win the game. Junior takes down Pips. 2 dead now for Divine Minds. This is Nuke and Pave's chance to get in, get this oddball, get a setup going again. Lunchy's going to be trying to help Junior over on PD. He's got 1 player left in here. He's got the Bulldog in his hands again. Junior gets the beat down. They'll have the setup. Let's see what Lunchy can do with the Bulldog again. He just needs to stay in these little small corridors and help Junior out with this oddball and get some kills for his team, because they need to win this round to stay in the game.
I can only imagine how both teams are feeling right now. It is 67-67. The score is all tied up, but again, they're going back and forth with these kills. And Lunchy actually manages to land some really good shots there in order to just put like the absolute paramount amount of damage down, so that he could just make sure that, okay, you know, these guys are on the ball, but they're all one shot. Please clean up. They're not going to have any ball time. As I'm saying this, Nuke and Pave did manage to get a couple of seconds up, and that could be crucial in these last 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah, Raided's having a rough game. He's only got 5 kills, but Juckor, he's on 17, and that's probably one of the reasons why the score is so close, even after the first round being so dominant for Divine Minds. Pip's just trying to find Mantis. He does manage to get him. Luckily for him, he doesn't get back smacked. He's got 2 players over to his left. He's waiting for his teammates. He'll find some shots on Junior. He's going to charge in as usual. This is how you play the game. He finds a second. He's looking for a third. He'll have to back down, stay alive, call out to his teammates, and it's 4 up for Divine Minds. They're still not getting much ball time, but the score does end up being 1-1 in the end. The time ran out.
Yeah, Nuke and Pave aren't out of this just yet. They actually did manage to, again, play asset denial there. They said, okay, we have the time up. Just make it about kills. Just play Slayer. We don't need to touch this ball. It's too risky for us to essentially be 1 player down holding the objective. So right now, we're probably going to see the play become a lot more of that vein. You know, teams are just going to want to get a couple of seconds here and there in order to be up on one another, and then just turn it into a Slayer first.
Yeah, that's a massive mistake from Divine Minds. They're not used to this new change in the oddball game mode. Rocket's in the hands of Pips, though. Maybe he can put him to use to get them the final round win. It was just a massive mistake from them to not pick up the ball. They weren't even looking at the time. Not even I was looking at the time. I was surprised that the round ended. So they were thinking the exact same thing. They didn't pick up the ball. The time ended, and they ended up losing the round just because of that, even though they could have easily picked it up and grabbed some more time for themselves to keep the game going.
Yeah, at the same time, though, you got to be cheering as you can Pave, because it means that they're not down and out just yet. It just means that they need to identify where their pros were in that last round and capitalize them in order to make sure that they're not down and out, you know, of this, that they go 1 down in this series to sort of claw their way up from losers.
Yeah, Nuke and Pave managed to get 3 down on the Divine Mind side, so they will have the ball control. Nades and shots coming in across the map. He gets taken down. Ball goes down as well. 2 dead for Nuke and Pave. Things are looking really good for Divine Minds as they're trying to push in for the odd ball. They'll find another one in Tram. They see them both over at Cafe, so Berserk's got to call that out. He'll go down, trying to play sneaky. Pips is. His team does have the ball. He's getting shot in the back. He'll go down again as well. So 2 dead now for Divine Minds. Things are looking very scrappy, and this is very similar to how Nuke and Pave ended up playing the previous round, and that's why they ended up winning, right? The ball was never picked up, and the timer just ran out, and that's really what this game's turning into. Very much just a scrap back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. It is super scrappy right now, but that being said, you know, Slays and Pips on the side of Divine Mind are playing so well right now, almost in tandem it seems. It seems like when we're snapping back and forth between their cameras, they both have line of sight on the same enemy that each other are shooting. It's really fantastic to see. It just means that you know that these players right now are at the top of their game and they want to make sure that they take this. It is 1-1 for both teams in this oddball game, so everything counts right now. Every second counts, and every time you can get a hold of that ball, it counts, Hoggy.
Yeah, all of Divine Minds pushing into Tram, taking down Nuke and Pave, rockets in the hand of Slays. He still hasn't even used one of these rockets. He finds one with the first one. Shots across on Mantis, and Lunchy's going to probably shoot this rocket across. Lunchy is very, very weak. He'll call that out to his teammates. Not great use of the rockets in the end. And Lunchy, again, he's got this Bulldog in hand. He loves this gun.
Yeah, Lunchy just always with the Bulldog, and he always capitalizes on it as well. He seems to just love that CQC nature, and the Bulldog just lets him let loose with it. Those 12 gauge shots have got to be hitting hard for the players of Divine Mind, maybe shaking them up a little bit, but overall we're just back to this sort of scrappy nature. Again, neither teams have the ball here. Nuke and Pave haven't made an opportunity to pick up the ball for very long, and Divine Minds is just sort of cleaning in, sort of coming in for the kills and making sure that even though that Nuke and Pave seem to have a bit of a setup on Tram side, they couldn't actually make it count in accordance to ball time, Hoggy.
Yeah, you can see only 9 points to lead, and we're still almost over half of the timer into this round, and that's very, very, very similar to what happened last round. So things are looking very, very similar, and if last round is anything to go by, it was Nuke and Pave's round to win. So this is perfectly set up for Nuke and Pave, and Divine Minds, they've got a bit of a setup going as they move the ball around the map. Berserk out BRs Juckor. He's going to put shots in to Junior to get the help for Pips. Pips will get the beatdown. Double melee from Pips with the odd ball. He'll find Mantis as well. Shots out on Mantis. Perfect 4-shot. It's a killing spree for Berserk. Rockets are about to come up, and Divine Mind have full control.
How does Pips do it, man? Honestly, even with the ball in hand, Pips is out here getting kills, and I can barely hit a 4-shot sometimes. God, it's just so awe-inspiring to see what these players can do in the right conditions and how coordinated they can be as a team of 4. I know how hard these players have been grinding, and I know how hard they want to stay in this competition.
Yeah, Mantis trying to push in for the ball. He'll find Raided. Shots down on Raided. The ball's still here, just scrapping along. They'll trade with each other. 3 dead now, though, for Nuke and Pave. And the ball will be in the hands of Divine Minds again. 11 kills for Berserk. 6 assists as well, the most for his team. So he's putting work in. But the team of Nuke and Pave, they're pushing in straight for this ball all the way into the B stronghold point. And Divine Minds still have control, though.
It seems like even when Divine Minds gets in these positions where they've sort of got a couple of kills up on the board, you know, 2 down on the side of Nuke and Pave, and they probably could squeeze a little bit more ball time out, they're just seeming to play it more safe and go for the kills and just operate in that asset denial sort of scenario. But we are seeing a bit of a flip here of Nuke and Pave just managing to take the hold that Divine Mind had on the B-side stronghold and sort of play around what they had previously set up. It's really interesting, and it's coming down to the crunch as we just look forward at this clock. There's a minute and a half left in this round to determine who takes this game.
Yep, the ball is in the hands of Nuke and Pave, though, so Divine Minds still have a bit of work to do. They can't rely on the timer. They are up by 40 points, but they don't want to risk Nuke and Pave getting a complete setup and holding them out. 3 players of Divine Minds at Tram. Rockets are coming up in 25 seconds. One of them will try to challenge Juckor. He will back down perfectly, and his teammate will clean up Juckor. 3 dead for Nuke and Pave. There's only 1 member left, and it's Junior. So Divine Minds, again, they've got control of the ball.
As the clock ticks down, we just see it more and more devolving into a Slayer Fest. You know, Divine Minds know that they have enough of a lead here that all they need to do is keep the lead on the scoreboard, as in they just need to make sure that there are less players alive on the side of Nuke and Pave that there are theirs. But as I say this, it seems like Nuke and Pave could have a little bit of a setup going in Tram as long as they manage to stay alive for long enough.
Yep, Rockets are still up, but I think they're in the hands of Berserk. Oh, they're in the hands of Slayer, actually, as we jump on board with him. So he'll have 2 rockets to work with. He's going to get his shield back. Listen for the coil outs. He doesn't want to waste a rocket. Beautiful. I love that play. He's got a teammate with him here. Put shots down on Mantis. His teammate's going to push in. This is the perfect time to whip out the rockets, and he does that. He's going to see if he can find anyone in Tram. He finds one. Oddball is in front of him. Juckal's down, so he made the other one 1-shot. He'll clean him up. It's a double kill for Slays. He's played this perfectly with the Rockets. He'll get challenged again by Junior. Junior's come in with the Bulldog, and it's no surprise the Bulldog in the hands of Nuke and Pave again.
Huge play with those Rockets to come out there, even though he did sort of miss the first one. It was enough for him to be like, okay, you're one shot, I can turn and I can take the other person out. One Rocket is all I need to clean this up. So it did manage to break that little setup that Nuke and Pave had there. Only barely for a split second did they manage to have it. Not really sure what's going on with the comms right now, but we are only 9 seconds away from Divine Mind being able to hold the ball and take this game, Hoggy.
Yeah, Nuke and Pave are 3 dead. Hopefully Divine Minds can manage to grab the ball. It was 4 dead momentarily. Pip's got the Bulldog in his hands, but I don't think there's anything Nuke and Pave can do. They're spawning on the other side of the map. It's 3 seconds left. Divine Mind, they're going to take game number 1 in the losers bracket final against Nuke and Pave.
Yeah, huge plays coming out from Divine Mind there. They played that really well. I really loved what they did sort of in the end of those last 2 rounds where they were more focusing on just the kills rather than holding the oddball themselves. You know, it does sort of put you in a bit of a difficult situation if you're dedicating one player to be on the ball at all times, because it means essentially you have a shooter down. And in a game like Halo Infinite, you want all 4 players up at all times to be able to put fire down the range.
Yeah, and I think we sort of saw in that 3rd round that Divine Minds themselves managed to grab the power weapons more often, and I think that was why in the 3rd round they were able to hold the ball for longer. In the 2nd round it was very scrappy, and Nuke and Pave just kind of taking kills where they can get them, and maybe Divine Minds didn't take the opportunity to pick up the oddball as much as they could have, because they ended up losing out on time and on points. It was both.
Yeah, it was just overall very interesting way to play in the map. I think throughout the majority of the series, we've just seen them play in a very like rotational style for oddball as opposed to a more Slayer style. So maybe this is something new that Divine Minds have developed, maybe in scrimming or anything like that. We're seeing huge, massive numbers come out from Divine Minds. You know, Slays had 40 kills on the board, 11k damage, and you've got 12k damage coming out from Berserk. And also on the side of Nuke and Pave, you have Juckor with 12 kills as well. So that just goes to show how scrappy, how intense that oddball game was overall.
Yeah, 12,000 damage from Juckor. He's carrying the team. Junior at Mantis lacking a little bit, but we saw yesterday and we were able to look in on gameplay with Juckor and Nuke and Pave against Divine Minds. And Juckor dropped a 20 bomb on Slayer, and he's just bringing it over to today and making the chances for his team better. But with Junior and Mantis are lacking a little bit in the slaying, it makes it tough for them to be able to win this first game.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, Juckor can't load all of his team into that massive backpack that we know he has, especially after, as you said, witnessing yesterday's game. Overall, you know, I can't say that Nuke and Pave played poorly here at all. They played great, but it just seems at the end of the day that Divine Minds was just able to outslay them, and that's going to have to be something that they overcome leading into this next game if they don't want to face elimination. Yeah,
well, Slayer is the next game, so they're going to have to step it up a little bit. But in these highlights, as you can see, the Bulldog in hand, and it was in hand a lot, especially in Lunchy's hands. He loves that thing. Maybe he's just bad with the BR, and that's why he wants the Bulldog in his hand, but you know, he loves that weapon, and we can already see people using the sandbox, and then Lunchy specifically.
Nah, props, shout-outs to Lunchy, though. He's played such a great game today. Like, overall, we've seen him perform. And I think with him in the hands of that Bulldog, he's just looking for a little bit more consistency. Maybe CQC is more his style. And as we come into Slayer being the next game, maybe we'll see a little bit of that CQC style develop in Lunchy's favor, because we know that just from observing those games that they need to play that Slayer style. So they're going to be forced to now. That's all they can do.
Yeah, well, we're going on to Slayer Recharge next, and there is a sword on that map. So maybe Lunchy can grab that. The timer for respawn is 4 minutes, though. So if he dies, but he's probably got not much of a chance to use it. But maybe he can use the sword going into the next game. But how do you think things are going to play out in this Recharge Slayer coming up? Because we just saw Nuke and Pave get heavily outslayed. So I'm not liking their chances going into game number 2.
It is tough. It is tough, especially because of how Recharge tends to play as a Slayer map. It tends to get that sort of standoffy style with teams either taking their place in attic or looking across from that top control area. But again, it's going to be very tough for Nuke and Pave to bounce back here, because if Divine Minds plays the Slayer game like they were in Oddball, man, they're going to be showing some fire.
Yeah, they really are. So Nuke and Pave are going to have to pick it up a little bit going into Slayer Recharge. What else do we have on Recharge? We've got a grapple hook, and a camo bottom middle. So those things are going to come into play, probably more than the sword. but I was just trying to have a little jab at Lunchy there. But the camo should play a big part as well. And even with the camo and grapple hook, if you could manage to get both at the same time, or sword and camo, perfect combo.
It's the kind of improvisation that we're going to need to see from Nuke and Pave if they can manage to couple together some of that new equipment along with stuff like the energy sword or anything else that's located on the map. Like, that's the kind of 200 IQ plays that they're going to need to make here in order to outslay a team like Divine Minds, especially when Divine Minds seem to be so on fire right now. You could say almost that they had more time to play that oddball game like a Slayer and sort of figure that thing out. Did they look at what the next game was? Because maybe they just wanted a warm-up for the Slayer map.
Yeah, maybe that would just warm it up. But there's a Needler on this map as well, and there's a Mangler. I would love to see the players use the Mangler. It's one of my favorite weapons. It's a 3-shot kill. We're on board with Pips. He picks it up instantly off the bat as I say that and uses it to perfect use as he can, the best he can, as his teammates will push down for camo. He'll have the Mangler in hand, and maybe they can even go grab this sword.
Divine Mind, straight off the bat, they knew that Nuke and Pave were going to push through that bottom control side, and just they wanted to push pressure because they said, okay, well, they're pushing through here, they're not grabbing camo, so then we're going to just put pressure on them and rotate 3 down to camo in order for us to take it, which is exactly what they did. And now it's in the hands of Slays, who performed massively just on that oddball game. So to see him with a combination right here like camo and sword is going to be devastating for Nuke and Pave if he manages to get it close.
Yeah, here we go. I mentioned it. Camo and sword. He'll find Juckle. Juckle goes down very, very easily. So Slay's already picking up the sword. He's going to get help from his teammates to take down another. He's 2 dead for Nuke and Pave. Teamwork coming out. 2 dead now for Divine Minds. 3 dead. Slay's is got to stay alive with his sword. Maybe he can put it to use. Anyone that gets close to him, he'll just sword him in the face.
Pips is already 4-1. Pips has already put 4 kills on the board. Again, how does this man do it? He's just got the aim, he's got the creativity, he's got the mindset that needs to take, and he's got a whole team backing him up as well. Slays, unfortunately, and Pips do manage to go down there, but they did hold that top control long enough in order to shake up the map a bit and have to force Nuke and Pave to breach that entry and take them out.
Yeah, we were saying that they got outslayed in the previous game, but it hasn't really stopped them at the start of this game. They might be down by 4 kills, but that's not much at the start of a Slayer. As we jump on board with Slays, camo in 20 seconds. He's going to wait for his teammates to come help him. All players from Nuke and Pave are going to push through long haul. He gets a call out for 1 right next to him. He won't be able to find him. He does. He gets 1 beat down. Can he get the second? No, he can't. He gets reversaled by Adzi. But by Lunchy, sorry, as we jump on with Mantis. Mantis will find 1, make him 1 shot. He should be able to kill Berserk here. He doesn't know what he's doing or where he's going. Camo will be in the hands of Nuke and Pave. He'll grab himself the repulsor. So Nuke and Pave have brought it back. They're only down by 2 kills with 10 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, only 2 kills the difference. Well, make that 3 now, actually. Nuke and Pave still playing a really good game here. You know, I'm honestly quite surprised. Like we mentioned so much before at how impactful their slaying game of Divine Mind was on the oddball game, and now here they're not really showing off that prowess that they had at the end. It might take a little bit for them to get in a swing of things just because of how Recharge plays and sort of how holdy of a positional sort of base map it can become. So we're going to see that sort of develop more into the game, and I think we'll see it become a bit slower as the game goes on and you sort of hit that halfway point into the game, and teams are going to start up taking positions a lot stronger.
Yep, it's now only a 2-point game for Divine Minds. Mantis will clean up 1. I think he does have another player pushing right next to him behind glass. He does find him. He won't be able to get him, though. They will trade. Unfortunately, 3 dead again for Divine Minds. So Nuke and Pave have brought this back, and they've now taken the lead by 1 kill. So things are working out very well for Nuke and Pave at the moment, bringing it back to just 1 kill the difference, or 2 kills now.
Yeah, Nuke and Pave overall just doing really well, playing really strong. You know, it's super cool of them to see what's going on and like how they're sort of developing as the match goes through.
Yeah, things are developing a little differently to the previous game. Unfortunately, players have stopped playing a little bit as Benko joins the game by accident, but he's left already, and hopefully we can continue from here. Shots out from Juckor. He's got 2 players over there. He's going to work with Mantis to push through pipes, get shots down on Pips. Pips will go down. Mantis does get taken down in the process. They're not able to stay alive. His teammates have pushed all the way through into pipes, doing his best to get shots on for them. They'll take down 1. They'll probably take down Slays as well. Sword is up very soon, and Camero's up in 4 seconds as well. So things will have to change a little bit for the side of Divine Minds as they're still down by 3 kills.
Bit of a ghost of recharge situation happening there, but it's good to see that all the players are managing to get back on their feet after being spooked a little bit. And we can see sort of Nuke and Pave managed to make like a bit of a score differential here, but now it's only 3 kills up in the difference. Again, like Divine Mind sort of slowing the pace down and realizing that Nuke and Pave are actually managing to make the score a lot closer than what they would like it to be. So Divine Mind are just sort of like throwing themselves back a little bit and saying like, oh, hey guys, let's slow this down a bit. Let's not let the lead get too out of hand. We've got this.
Yeah, they're only down by 1 now as Nuke and Pave managed to keep the lead at the moment. Hips, he had the camo. He did not sprint a single time while he had the camo. He walked everywhere. He did not want anyone to see him. And again, he's got the Mangler in hand, which is exactly what I want to see from these players. I want to see them use the additional weapons that have been added to this game, because the Mangler is such a strong weapon on this map and all the maps in the game.
Yeah, especially with Recharge being so closely CQC, the Mangler is only a 3-shot kill if you can manage to handle all 3 headshots, which I'm sure all of the players in this lobby currently have because they're all pretty cracked on those sticks. But we do see Pips manage to change out that Mangler for the sword, and we saw what Divine Mind actually managed to do with that sword before, so it'll be interesting to see how Pips can make a play here, especially with him being 14 kills on the board. He's got to know that he's feeling strong.
Yeah, he's just watching his teammates back. He's going to push into PC. He'll find one. Can he find the second? No, that was a killing spree for him. Juckle will grab that sword, try to run away. He'll get taken out, though. Lunchy might have it in his back pocket. I'm not sure. Still 3 kills the lead for Nuke and Pave, so they're doing something right. It doesn't matter what weapons Divine Mind seem to be picking up on the map. Nuke and Pave still managed to keep the lead. Sword will find Rated. Rated will get the traded kill with his teammates' help. Berserk's there as well. Pips getting shot. They're both getting pincered from either angle. Junior will chase down Pips. So Camo is up as well. Slay's trying to stay alive as best he can. He'll get shots down on Lunchy, and his teammates will come through and help him. Berserk, he's going to grab the camo. Maybe he can at least burn it. He is able to pop it. Let's see if he uses his sprint at all.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be going in the way that we kind of predicted before this match started. We thought because of how Divine Mind managed to play that Slay game on the oddball match that they'd come into this and clean up no problem, but they are actually having a bit of trouble sort of making leads, making good picks, and just sort of like overall staying together and just being like holding the map in a strong positional sense. Seems like Nuke and Pave sort of have their finger on the button when it comes to this. And hopefully, if Nuke and Pave can sort of come back in the way that they did in the beginning of this match, then they might actually take this. It is only 3 kills to match the difference on Divine Mind, so we'll see where this game can go from here.
Yeah, trying to be sneaky. Berserk, a player pushes in. He'll get the free trade. Another one pushes in, but he might go down, and he does. His teammate gets the trade as well. So Divine Mind working together perfectly. They've managed to get the last 2 camos, and that's probably one of the reasons why they've taken the lead, albeit only 2 kills the difference. Pips again, he's got the Mangler in hand. He's going to use it up close. He's going to probably go for the shot melee, see if he can get more than 1 kill and trade off with the side of Nuke and Pave. Things are slowing down very much so now, though, with 4 minutes left on the clock. There's still a lot of time for these teams. Juckle is going to get shot in the back. Junior will find one. He goes down. So Juckle taken out. Junior trying to get shots out again. 2 kills still the difference. Pips is taking shots as well. Raided's trying to get in there to find the player of Junior. He doesn't, though. Junior trades, so Junior doing a perfect job. His teammate getting the shots across for him. Berserk playing real sneaky, cleans up another kill. 3 kills the difference again, and there's still only 3 kills to go. Berserk is on the flank. He has a Mangler in pocket. Makes Mantis one shot. Will challenge Lunchy as well. Lunchy will go down. Only 2 kills the difference now. Camo's up, but it might not matter. Berserk's trying to stay alive. 1 kill the difference. He challenges for the kill. His teammate will clean him up, though. That's the second game for Divine Mind. They'll take this series and move on to the grand final for a rematch against NutriBullet.
Wow, bada bing, bada boom. But hey, look, only 5 kills the difference. Again, like we thought that overall it would be so much more of a gap in terms of slaying potential on the hand of Divine Minds, but they did sort of have like a pushback there from Nuke and Pave. Really interesting to see how they reacted from that, but we know a team like Divine Mind and how they perform at the end, and I'm sure, Inman, you've seen them play plenty before.
Yeah, indeed I have. I've seen these names around the block a few times, and that Slayer, neck and neck. We did see Nuke and Pave there, had the lead for a little bit before Divine Mind obviously coming back and finishing it in the end. But that was exactly the kind of game I anticipated, to be honest. It was very, very close, very, very exciting, and I love to see it all go down. Hoggy, was it kind of the result that you were expecting?
I think it was the result we were expecting, but it ended up being closer than maybe was expected, I think, because there was only a few kills in the Slayer, even though you could kind of say that maybe in the oddball that Divine Minds kind of messed up in the second round by not picking up the ball to stop the clock to allow themselves to potentially win it, but it didn't matter. Nuke and Pave still put up a good fight in both games, and it was a little surprising, I'm not going to lie.
Bluey, because of a technical hiccup, we won't be able to see the scoreboards, but if you were to highlight anything from that match for those who, if you were to highlight it, and if you weren't watching that match, what were some of the stats that we should have paid attention to? Was there anyone who really stood out to you as really being a key slayer or anything else?
Pips, dude. Pips, yet again, he put 20 kills on the board. How can you not look at this man and how he's playing right now and be like, okay, if there is any one man who's going to be able to carry his team to go against NutriBullet, it's going to be this dude. He's on fire right now. I'm so keen to watch him play in the next game.
Hoggy, Pips was a standout back in the HCS event in 2017 and 18 as well. I remember interviewing him, and he was kind of in the later stages of the Halo competitive history here in Australia, at least, more of a H5 kind of kid. But he really stood out to me, and it seems like he's making a name for himself here in Halo Infinite as well. Yeah,
and the funny thing is, him and Pips, and Barcode together weren't really in the top two teams in the country back in the HCS in 2018. But you can see that the time has sort of aged them, and they've been able to grow, get better as players, get better with their shots, their movement and everything, and now they've brought themselves to the very, very tippy top of Halo Infinite, even right at the start.
Yeah, indeed they have, and we saw there through that highlights package that there was good use of that repulsor as well, able to blow those players off the map. I absolutely love seeing that. I've seen some insane clips already shared in the Twitterverse of people get like triple kills from one use of the repulsor. Absolutely disgusting stuff. I hope we see more of it through this competition, and I'm sure we will. And we see there was a really, really impressive scoreline. Divine Mind obviously taking the win there, 2-0 series sweep, finishing it off with that 50-45 Slayer. Earlier on in that oddball, we talked about many times, Blue, about the teamwork that's required to take an oddball. And although it looked like it was close at times, particularly earlier on, Divine Mind with a more structured team obviously came out with the win in that earlier game.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they play going forward, because obviously in those two matches that we just watched, their gameplay was on point, their team comms were clearly on point, overall the structure of the team was really strong. But going in here, like, they're not done yet. That's the thing. That's what it becomes, a mental game now. They know that they're going to be in it for the long haul going up against NutriBullet.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the grand final. Before we get there, I think we do have the man himself, Pip, for an interview. Let's welcome him in and have a chat with us. Pip, what an absolutely amazing performance there. The squad must be happy. I think you've got a fan here in Bluey as well. Tell us how you're feeling, mate. Obviously, you were just knocked down to the losers bracket, but a pretty convincing finish to get back to the grand final. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we didn't play our best against NutriBullet. They're definitely the best team right now in ANZ. They're very strong. So just have to shake that off. And then coming into that series, we obviously know Junior's really good. Didn't really see the other three play that much, but they were surprisingly really good. It was a good series.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, Jaco's on the other team. Have you seen much of him before? He's been really performing this weekend. Even yesterday, we got to watch things off stream. So I was just curious what you thought about Jaco as a player, and how you thought that team went overall. Were you surprised? Were you not surprised?
Yeah, I played a bit when MCC first came to PC. I played Reach against him quite a bit, so I know he's quite talented. And then I watched them versus Direwolves, and I was like, definitely unexpected that win especially. So definitely a shock to me. But They're a very solid team, honestly.
You just mentioned before that you know that NutriBullet is one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest team now that you have to go against in facing, especially in the upcoming grand finals. Is there any thoughts that you'd like to share before going up against them? Maybe a little bit of trash talk that you want to shed their way?
Nah, it's all love. We gotta play our game. They're really good. Just gotta fucking be better.
Pip, was Junior giving it in his all?
100%. He doesn't know any other way.
I thought as much watching him. I couldn't ever imagine Junior doing anything but. Well, Pip, look, it was awesome to watch, mate. Obviously, you've got Game Face on. Good luck in the grand final. Hopefully, you can take it back. Thanks for chatting with us, and we hope we'll be seeing you in many more competitions in the future as well.
Cheers.
There you go, man. A few words. It looks like he was in the zone there, Bluey. Yeah, he wasn't really giving us much, but hey, man, when you're in that level, when you're in that element that he is right now, he knows he's got a fierce match coming up for him. So he knows he's got to be in that headspace of the game rather than chatting with us old boomers.
Indeed, he does. And of course, Hoggy, you know, he's obviously going to be playing this rematch, a rematch of the winners final as he heads into the grand final. Game face aplenty. Do you think there's enough here? Is there enough in the tank to cause an upset? Because that winners final looked pretty convincing.
Yeah, it did look pretty convincing. I would love to see a close match coming up. Maybe the maps just weren't great for them, but, you know, NutriBullet do seem really, really, really strong. And I've seen them grinding online. Like, at night, they're usually the last ones on, like, of the top players that I have sort of on my friends list. And I see them in, you know, games together, and they're still grinding. So the fact that they've grinded so hard, I guess, is kind of the reason why they are at the top in this early stage. But I would love to see Divine Mind to be able to push through and at least take a game, because at this point, we've seen that they are so dominant, but I'd love to see Divine Minds be able to take a game and maybe even the series.
Well, let's see what's going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost time for our grand final. This is the HCS ANZ Open 1. Let us know in the chat who you are backing. Is it going to be Divine Mind